Welcome back, everybody, to the A Little Less Fear podcast. Today, I would love to welcome Roxanne Chaput. I hope I pronounced that correct.
You
Roxanne is
got
a
it.
global. What's that? Did I do that right?
You
Thumbs
got
up?
it.
All right, great. Roxanne is a globally recognized luminary, inspire, celestial guide, celestial and generational earth shaman, creator of the Illumination retreat, creator of Soullular, healing, oracle of the divine golden order, and host of Soul to Soul with Roxanne. Roxanne's purpose is to lead beautiful souls to effectively illuminate their soul's luxuriance. I love this. She has successfully guided thousands of beautiful souls to connect with their most divine essence by teaching them to alchemize and harmonize their internal medicines and experiences so that they can effectively heal and create everything they desire in their life while experiencing sensations of enlightened knowingness, unconditional love, and unwavering inner peace throughout their journey. Welcome, I have to say this, Roxanne. I know you probably heard it so many times, but I had to.
I've never heard that song before.
I'm sure you haven't. Welcome to A Little Less Fear podcast, Roxanne.
Thank you so much, Lino, for having me. I'm so excited to just be here.
Well, I'm excited to meet you. I'm excited that you're here. Where are you at anyway?
I am in Canada. So I am about 4.5 hours, 5 hours from Toronto, north of Toronto.
Oh man, I haven't yet. I've not gone to Canada yet, and I can't wait to visit one day. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm out here.
You'll have to come for a visit.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'm out here in California, and Los Angeles, California, and it's all right, but it's time for me to get out and explore and see what's going on in other places, to explore different energies and just love it all, because I do.
Absolutely.
Well, hey, Roxanne, I mean, you've got I really love that you are here to guide thousands of beautiful souls to connect with the most divine essence. I mean, we can start anywhere here, and I feel like we're just in such complete alignment right now. It's like I feel like a kid at a candy store. I don't know whether I want to, what kind of candy I want at the moment, but what's illuminating me the most right now is helping them with their most divine essence. So before we talk about divine essence, I have a question for you here with those two words. What does divine mean? And then after that, followed with, what is the essence of the divine?
Absolutely. So divine is everything that is in creation of beauty, of love and light. And this has so many dexterities. This has so many dimensionalities, connected to this, but divine essence is being divinely created and created with intention. So either we believe in God, we believe in the creator, whoever that higher source of creation of where our energy and where our soul essence came from. Our essence is who we are. Our soul is who we are. We are the fabrication of energy. We are electromagnetic beings. We are soulful. It's been proven in science, it's in every religious structure out there. We do have a soul. We are multidimensional. And that soul essence is like our gem. It is the most precious thing that we have, this beautiful avatar that helps protect this beautiful soul essence in our body and captivate it and capture it as we're able to experience life. And this essence is delicate and it's powerful at the same time. And it's important to honor the essence that we have within us. What did we come here to honor in our essence? What did we come here to honor within ourselves?
I love this. This essence is delicate and powerful at the same time. And we came here to honor this essence. I love this. And so this essence being a combination of something that's both delicate and powerful, what makes it delicate?
The delicacy of the soul, when we think about our soul essence, when we think about, the weight of our body alone, we are light, right? We are light matter. We are energetics. We are energy. So when we think about the energy matter that in which we are, that soul essence is the delicacy that is within the body. And even though that soul energy can radiate 200 to 300 feet outward of us, that most precious part of our soul essence and our soul is really to ensure that we are here to be in alignment with what we came here to do. So regardless of, if we believe in reincarnation process or not, energy is energy, and energy cannot be created nor can it be destroyed. So we have this beautiful soul essence that comes here to understand, at the linear, at the 3D, to understand itself in different ways, to progress, to learn, to advance, to come to a place of teaching and learning. And when we have this delicate soul essence within us, it's about trusting that sacredness of where we're being guided. And why I say that it's delicate is because I envision it like a flower, like a very gentle flower. And if we don't honor it and we don't nurture it and we don't nourish it, that soul essence starts to silence itself a little bit more as, the other parts of the multidimensional body start to take place. So it's very important to listen to the whispers of the soul, because it will always be whispers.
I love this. So listen to the whispers of the soul, because there'll always be whispers, and it's important to shower it, listen to it, basically love it. And I mean, my question is, I try to put myself in the eyes of listeners, people listening to something like this for the first time, and I can feel that somebody might say, "Well, how do I know what's a whisper of the soul?"
And that is, the beautiful thing is that we have this incredible intuitive knowingness and our intuitive guiding. And what happens is that, we have all these beautiful energetic chakras within the body. So we have what I consider them to be centers of intelligence. All of them are able to calculate and make decisions and channel wisdom from the universe, from the omniverse. That's what they're there for. They're there to be able to be receptors and to understand the mechanisms of the world around us. And then we have all of these meridians within the body that are little energy centers that also conduct energy, and they also emit frequency and vibration. So when we speak about the soul, and we speak about the soul essence, and we speak about our knowingness, it's that gut intuitive knowingness where that connection is happening from the umbilical cord of divine source to divine connection, where we're feeling that hit. And that's why they say, why they've just discovered that we have a brain within our heart. We have a brain within, our gut system. And I believe that they're going to find a brain. That's why I'm referring to them as center of intelligence, is I believe they're going to discover that all of our chakra systems, all of our energy centers are actually centers of intelligence. They're actually brains. They're actually neurons that are speaking to each other. They're making decisions. They're calculating information, and they're always processing. And the brain is more of like the central hub of like the computing system that is giving the commands to the body, or giving the commands to the actions or the emotions that ended up kind of being released. So what happens is when we get that gut knowingness, and they're saying that it's 99% accurate and it has a little bit higher accuracy than a cognitive brain. So that means that the neurological components of the brain are not as accurate as the intuitive knowingness. So that is our direct connection to all divine intelligence. So that divine intelligence is what is transmitting information to us. So if we think about an umbilical cord, the information is always running from and running through, running from and running through. It's an exchange of information. So it's like data, right? It's like Wi-Fi. When you have Wi-Fi in the home, you don't see the Wi-Fi, but you know that the exchanges in the network is happening, right? You know that the communication is transpiring. And that's the same thing that happens with their knowingness. And if you ask anyone, oh, my gut told me not to do that, but my mind was like, or my heart was like, yeah, like just do it. And all of a sudden you're like, no, I should have listened to myself. It's that 1 millisecond. It's the first response. It's your first initial response that comes throughout the body. That's your intuitive knowingness. That first millisecond of response, that is your knowingness. And what happens is that we get so barricaded and we get so inundated and we get so pressurized with so many different things and elements of distraction that we tend to lose sight of that millisecond, and then we overanalyze, right? It goes into all of the energy centers, goes into the fear centers, it goes into all the limited beliefs, it goes into all the generational cycles and patterns. And then it comes up with decisions that aren't actually coming from our knowingness, and it's not our soul's guidance.
I love this, and I love how you brought in the whole neuronal network, and you're bringing in the chakra system, which is extremely informative. I love how you said the chakras are like receptors, basically like satellites,
Yeah.
and that's our internal satellite system to be able to connect with higher purposeful energies that are there to guide us. And that in turn has to do with our intuition and how we are all intuitively connected together by an extreme, energetic, beautiful, powerful, delicate yet powerful force that's keeping us in
Exactly.
alignment. Once we're able to actually sit down and tune into that 1 millisecond of intuition.
And when we think about it, right, our energy is beyond powerful. And we are all connected. That is in every scripture, scientifically, the matter of who we are, the way that we dialogue information. And I mean, we can speak about when people transition into, the next stages of their life when they leave the earth. But what happens is that we have all of these incredible energy centers, and then we have our auric field, and we have all of these amazing things in terms of our astral body. When we walk into a room and someone is 200 feet away, our energy is already calculating and making decisions of how we feel with that energy entering the room.
Right.
There doesn't even need to be an expression. You don't even need to visually see that person, because the energy is already interacting and it's already communicating together. It's like sonar, right? It's already having conversations before it actually enters the intellectual mind. So it's being able to understand that, we are energy. When you walk around someone, you can feel the density of their energy. You can feel if the mood has shifted or if the emotion has shifted. You can walk into a home, no one says anything. You can feel a tension in a home. You can feel the joy or the happiness and the love in a home. Energy speaks for itself.
Energy definitely speaks for itself. And it's interesting when you were saying that that our soul essence stretches 200 to 300 feet outside of us. And the interesting part of that, your description right now about walking into a room. I mean, I've been in plenty of rooms where I'm like, I feel like I can cut the air with scissors, like cut right through it. It's so thick in here, where
Let me
you
get
can.
the scissors.
Yeah, exactly. Where you can actually feel the weight of
Mm.
the energy of where you're
Yeah.
at. And that's why feelings are your intuitive silent voice, and that's speaking to you, I mean, with non-verbally. And feelings are basically your intuitive intellect by the divine.
So yeah, your energetic body, right? So we have the emotional body, we have the energetic body, we have the physical body, we have the intellectual bodies, we have the centers of intelligence, we have our sensory bodies, right? We have all of these bodies that are within us that are always making assumptions, and they're always trying to calculate. And then, we have the egoic mind, which is the reptilian brain that is always wanting to, be in our survival, right? We're here to
Yeah,
survive.
flight and fight. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're in a beautiful place, and the emotions only come once the energy receptors have captivated the information, and then it evokes an emotion within us, right? So it's like these receptors are like, hey, like you should feel a certain way, or be leery of your situation or your surroundings, or release yourself, surrender yourself, express yourself, enjoy yourself, have curiosity. Like there's so many metrics that happen with our energy centers. And the emotional body, when we go through so much wounding in the emotional body, this is where it can be a little bit more challenging to decipher, is because in my personal experience of the thousands of people that I've worked with out of the global stages that I've been on, what I have seen is that most people, if you look at the pain of where it's rooted within the cellular complex. So when I talk about cellular, that's our energetics. That is our soul complex. This is not just the cellular component of our body, because we're not just cellular in matter. So when we think about this aspect of the body, when we're holding on to emotional, wounding or emotional heaviness, emotional densities, what I have really seen throughout the bodies of my work is that you will see immense sadness. So it's never about the anger. It's never about frustration. It's never truly about depression or anxiety. It's never about resentment. It's never about non-forgiveness. It's about a deep sadness that hasn't been addressed within the emotional body. And when that encoding isn't, you know, functioning the way that it should, it's very hard to be able to feel all of the other sensories of your emotions when you're not able to actually feel the density of the emotion that needs to be felt. So when we talk about the emotional body, sometimes, we're so conflicted. We're like, I feel happy, I feel this, but I feel conflicted in my emotional body, is because there's parts of the emotional body that aren't being expressed, right? So what I believe is that there's really two core emotions, and that's sadness and love. And sadness and love. So anytime we, get triggered by fear, if someone cuts us off on a highway, it's not really anger that we're feeling. It's that sadness in that one moment that could have taken our life, right? Or that could have taken the life of our loved ones. It's a rooted sadness that quickly transmute, because it had the processes throughout the entirety of the life on how to react to that situation, right? So when we think about the emotional dexterity of the body and the emotional densities of the body, those are pretty much the primary emotions. And then everything is on almost like a secondary emotion to that trigger.
Roxanne, thank you for this. This is really amazing. I always had the feeling or understanding that the only two emotions were fear and love. How is it sadness and not fear?
Because fear is only something that derives from
The
the
reptilian
reptilian
brain?
brain, the reptilian brain. So fear is a natural sadness. If I look back at predatorial days, right, where there were cavemen,
Mhm.
the mother is fearful because the actual rooted fear of that is the sadness if something was to happen to her young or to happen to the family dynamic within the house of being able to provide for the baby, right? So regardless of how you look at it, it always stems at some root of a deep sadness that quickly transmutes into a fear to be able to protect ourselves from ever experiencing that deep sadness. When somebody loses somebody that they love, it's never anger that they experience at the first initial reaction. It's profound, deep rooted sadness, right? That is the emanation of grief. And then it goes through its progressional stages. And depending on someone's emotional response, from a child to now, sometimes it goes very quickly, right? Within 1 second, it started off as like a deep sadness or, not knowing what, their life is going to hold. And all of a sudden it's at this place of frustration, anger, and resentment and mad at the world, right? Or mad at whoever is about to pass or has passed. So it's always about a deep rooted sadness. So when we think about survival, we're not angry that we don't survive. We're sad that we wouldn't be here to survive on the earthly plane when we look at the base emotion of what that is.
Thank you for this. There's a lot to unfold there. But before I start to unfold what you just said, I don't want to forget what I'm thinking right now. And what I'm wondering right now, I'm just going to take this a little bit outside of the box here.
Yep.
So if let's say that some humans are aware that they're going or unaware or are aware that we have been humans before and we're incarnating into a human life again. I can then understand, and I'm hoping you can help me unpack this and understand this as
Yeah.
well. If and I'm certain I have because I've had visions of my past lives, many.
Yep.
Let's hypothetically say I haven't been a human before, and this is my first experience as a human.
Yep.
Will I then know sadness? And will I then ever turn into fear? Or will I always just be a divine being of love and then adapt to sadness from that first life experience?
So the beautiful thing, so I'm always engaging with those that have already transitioned over, and that's part of being a shaman. And I've walked many to, you know, through the gates, of whatever they feel that is. And what we call it in shamanism is the veil. And we bring them back to the origination so that they can go through their reincarnation process. Reincarnation does not mean that they are going to come back to the earth plane. In remembrance of what I said at the beginning, is that energy cannot be created, nor can it be destroyed. And that's been proven in scientific measure. That's been proven in every religious scripture that
Right.
there is, right? It is what it is. It's like the law of gravity. There's no defying it, right? So when we think about this concept that we are energy, just because we don't take human form, and this is why people have maybe a challenging understanding of what mediumship is, or when people can connect to the afterlife or to those that have transitioned over, which is what I like to refer it to, because they're still a beautiful soul, they're still beautiful energy.
Yeah.
What happens is that the way that we communicate and we dialogue is no longer in human connection. We are now dialoguing through energetic connection and through divine intelligence of being able to share the wisdom and the information that they are gifting us, right? They're coming into connection to give us an information, and we're reading the energy of what they're trying to tell us. So it comes in terms of visions, words, scriptures. It could be imagery. It could be more like charades. It's just a way that they can come so that they can express themselves, so that they're trying to transmit information to us, right? That's all it is. It's just a different way that we're absorbing the information and we're translating and we're transmitting it differently, opposed to my words to your words, right? When you were unable to speak, you use a different modality in order to be able to speak and communicate with others so that they can understand you. The same thing happens to our energy when it transitions out of the human avatar.
I find this really fascinating. I mean, I'm pretty open on my podcast about my life experiences, so I have to share this because we're on this topic. So my brother transitioned on April 9th. It's only been about a month. And so
Sorry to hear that.
you're being straight up with you. You're the first podcast episode I do since his passing. And today, for the first time since his passing, I didn't feel sad anymore. I'm feeling the joy. I do feel the eternity of his connection. I absolutely know and understand that energy can't be created nor destroyed because I feel his energy everywhere. And so, in you talking about this again, there's no coincidence that we've connected at this point. I mean, I could have interviewed you a month ago, but it happened after he's transitioned. And so for people that have lost their loved ones, the thing that I've seen that grief is love. That's what I've actually seen. That yes, I do. It is a very profound sadness in the beginning, but even from this profound sadness, what I gather from this profound sadness is that it's all because of love, and I'm actually
Absolutely.
able to transmute that energy anytime I start to feel really sad and be like, I feel you, sadness. I welcome you. Hello, I see you again. And I also transmute you into love. And I
Yeah.
welcome you to become love. And in doing that, I wholeheartedly feel it and wake up feeling better each day. And so, what's something you can tell people about people transitioning into their next energetic form or the energetic form that they've always been, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll kind of, circle back to where we were and then, expand on this because I think it's really important and it'll tie in so beautifully because the reincarnation process, like you said, not every soul has been here before. There are a lot of new souls
Right.
and there are a lot of, old souls that have been to the earth plane thousands of times. And again, like it's irrelevant if we believe in reincarnation or not. We come here to the linear and we come here to the 3D to learn and to expand, to feel. There's so many things that we can do that the divine bodies can't do, right? So we've come here to explore that. And for those newer souls that come into the earth, they feel the sadness because they're already collective as one. Even when they transition over, they're very much in love and light, depending on where they are in the stages of their healing throughout the soul. But they still feel the emotions. There's still emotions there. There's still either, if someone doesn't have closure when they pass, there's frustration, there's confusion, there's sadness. If they see that a person that they love is stuck in the cycles of grief and isn't able to move forward, there is sadness. Even though they're emanating love and light, the sadness transmutes in a way that it is more of a loving like sentiment either than what we would feel in this now moment of the density, right? So it's really powerful and it's really beautiful and it's really important for us to go through that. And I've been a part of so many death and dying ceremonies, and I've helped people transition at the last stages of their life. I've worked in palliative care for over 13 years, and I didn't know that this was going to be part of my path at that time.
Isn't
And
that
I've had
fascinating? Wow.
yeah, I've had family and friends, family of friends or friends and family that were passing, and they've asked me to be by their bedside to help them transition over. And it was always just something that came very beautifully for me. I regarded it as a very beautiful transition of their life because the conversations that are happening around a deathbed are so emotional. They're so enlightening. They know. Most souls know at least 3-4 months before they pass typically. But when they know when they're on their deathbed, they just know that this is the time, and then they start seeing the angels around them. They start seeing the divine bodies that have always been there around them, but now they're able to see them because they're starting to go into a transcendence of a different origination of their multidimensionality. And I've done death and dying ceremonies with clients, when they're trying to understand why they came here. Why did they come here in this timeline? What did they come here to learn in terms of their sacred purpose? In terms of the soul contracts, what are their karmic debts and karmic lessons that they've come here to explore, to expand for their soul's evolutionary growth? This is the importance for them to be here. Why am I here? Like, do I have the soul identifications that I need to feel fulfilled in this earthly plane? what did I come here to do? What did I come here to learn? Why did I choose this family? Why did I choose this pathway? And when they do this death and dying ceremony, the soul body leaves the physical body. It's like an astral projection, and they go back to the creator and they ask these questions, and they come back with their own knowingness, with their own truth from what they were told by their own guides, right? So it's absolutely powerful because your life is never the same afterwards. We live with all these densities around us, with stress, with anxiety, with having to do this, having to do that. If not, like you can't provide for yourself. You're always in a state of distraction, or something is always wanting your attention. And when you're able to connect with your soul to really see why you came here and the originations of your sacred path or your sacred, your purpose, whatever that might be, that is so empowering to a soul because it lights them back up and it makes them realize it's like a state of remembrance, that they remember exactly why they came here and what they came here to do. And their life changes drastically.
I love this. Oh man, Roxanne, I'm hooked. This is amazing. I mean, we only have like 30 minutes left, but I feel like I just have so many questions. This is incredible. This is really beautiful. Um, let's get into something you were talking about right now, life purpose, the soul's life purpose. And so, I mean, if somebody's, how do we get there? How about that? How do we get there?
So, our purpose, and this is going to sound like everyone's like, oh man, that's not the answer I was looking for.
Oh,
Because with my clients are like, oh man, that's not what I was looking for. But
wow.
your purpose is your entire journey, right? Your purpose is your entire journey. You're never where you're not supposed to be, right? Everything is a puzzle piece. Everything is a gathering of a puzzle piece. And we have this mentality that we have to have instant gratification, that we have to instantly know, absolutely everything that's going to happen in our life. But that's not the point of life. The point of life is to have mystery and magic and to not know everything, to discover it throughout our path, and to accumulate all of these small puzzle pieces and to gather them for the bigger puzzle. So your purpose is on point. What I always say is that if you're not listening to your soul's guidance, that's when you're living out of purpose. You're living out of purpose when you're not listening to yourself. If you're in a relationship that isn't serving you, isn't serving your growth, isn't valuing you, isn't bringing value to your life. If you're in a career that is doing the same thing in terms of your energy, your time, everything is being dispersed into something that isn't serving your soul and your highest alignment into your highest self, you're not living on purpose, right? You're not living within your purpose. Your purpose gets slowly discovered throughout your life. The point of the death and dying ceremony is to understand why you came here to serve at this exact timeline. What is your magic? What is your gift? What did you come here to do and to master? That is the importance of the sacred path, right? That is the path of your sacred purpose. So it's about doing the steps and taking the soft action to allow that purpose to be in action, right? To be in that purpose is the importance. We don't always have to do something to be in purpose. We're human being. We came here to be a human being, right? To be with ourselves, to understand ourselves, to grow within ourselves. So our purpose is always there. And when we follow our soul guidance, it naturally leads us to every single door that our purpose is meant to go through. So when I started onto my journey of following the whispers of my soul, I started off, guidance, stewardship, and then it was speaking, and then it was this, and then it was that. Things slowly start opening the door and you start gathering the pieces, and all of a sudden, all of these puzzle pieces start coming together. And then you have this beautiful vision of what your purpose is.
That's incredible. And that's beautiful. Oh my goodness. And so I often found, and I've often heard that if people don't know what their purpose is, or where they're supposed to go, or how to tune in, and I have found this to be true for myself as well, is if you follow your joy. Do you find that
Yeah,
to be true as well?
absolutely. Your joy is your soul, right? The joy is the soul. When I, first am in partnership with another beautiful soul as I steward, the first thing I ask is, when is the last time you ever felt curiosity and joy as a child? Right? because a lot of times we don't even allow ourselves to feel those emotions anymore, that happiness or that fulfillment or that resiliency. When was the last moment that you felt that joy? Because that was the last moment that you followed your soul guidance. When you follow your soul guidance and you have this burning sensation and this excitement and this love of life, this joie de vivre, this so excited to get up in the morning and to live and to be here and to serve in whatever way, serving the animal kingdom, serving your family, whatever that is that lights up your world. That is your joy. That is your purpose. That is your soul guiding you. Your soul will never steer you in the wrong direction. Your soul will never steer you in a place of depression and anxiety. You might go through those densities to learn a very important lesson, but it does not want you to reside there, right? It wants you to reside in joy, inner peace, fulfillment, happiness within.
Oh my goodness, I love this. And in saying all this, it just and coming back to my brother. I'm so sorry that my phone rang. I'm like so again, this is my first time back podcasting since my brother crossed over, and so I'm just not in alignment here with making sure that everything else is turned off, but the ringer's off now. I'm bringing this back to my brother because he was a very magical person. So my brother was the writer of the first two Pirates of the Caribbean, and Captain Jack Sparrow is his character. And so actually, Captain Jack Sparrow is him. He wrote this character based on himself. And some of the things that he always told me was don't think small because you're not. Follow your joy, follow what excites you, and there is no plan B.
Yeah.
And I always thought that's incredible. How do you not have a plan B? And he's like, there is no plan B because I'm doing what I love.
Yeah.
And it was never about the money. It was never about being Mr. Hollywood guy. It was about literally doing what he loved and what brought him joy, which was stories and characters. And in doing so, this is one of the biggest lessons that I've learned with his transition. And so, and exactly what you're telling me right now. Follow your soul's guidance. Your joy is your soul. That's your excitement. Love, your excitement's love for life. That's your soul's guidance when you follow that excitement. And if you don't follow that excitement, then I can see that it can start to transition or turn into a type of sadness, correct? I almost
When
said
we're
fear or down or depression, but it's really a sadness.
Yeah, and when we're denying aspects of our soul and we're denying our emotional body to be able to experience that joy, that's where we find disease, right? Dis-ease, disease, progression of illness, where we find depression, anxiety, autoimmune diseases, because it's all pressurization in the body. As you know, you entrap these emotions within the body, right? They don't stay at the same emotion. They transmute and they pressurize and they become something completely different, and they need somewhere to store unless we allow them to be released. When we look at a child, when a child is having a temper tantrum or they need to go into an expression of their emotions,
Yeah.
you see a child wailing and crying and hitting the floor and having this temper tantrum. I'm not saying that adults are, to go around doing that everywhere, but when they have this expression of their emotional body, they're then able to release and surrender. And the resiliency comes straight after, where they're happy, they're joyous, and it's like nothing ever even happened because they allowed themselves to express it.
Yes. And exactly. So I'd lost my ability to speak, for 2.5 years. And I knew at the time that I'm sorry, I did not know at the time, but now that I'm thriving and feeling wonderful, I'm able to see now that there was a lot of stuff, a lot of truth that I wasn't speaking.
Yeah.
And that's where all your speech is. That's where your authenticity is, your vocalization. And if you're not speaking your truths, then it's going to turn into a disease, which is really,
It's the power of your voice.
yeah.
It's the power of advocacy. It's speaking up when your soul is asking you to speak. It's speaking into your boundaries. It's speaking into your power. It's speaking into your self autonomy. It's speaking into your sovereignty. That is important. A voice needs to be heard. There's a reason why we feel we need to express certain things. Sometimes, sometimes we have to journal that expression out. Sometimes we can sing that expression out. Sometimes we can dance that expression out, paint it out. It all comes in different forms of expression, but it needs to be expressed. And when we think about our emotions, they're energetic motions, right? Energy needs to move. It's fluid. It needs to flow. It needs to move. And it's important that we allow that to move throughout the body. when we have discomfort in the body, back pain, this pain, even if there was, a related accident to it, it's irrelevant because the
Right.
body is still traumatized and it's
Sure.
still holding the emotion, the entrapment within the body.
That is so true. And it's just really incredible. It's how we're all just connected in this incredible way. Our body is clearly in tuned and attuned and tapped in and turned on to everything that we speak, feel, see, and interpret, which is why it's important to, again, going back to what you said, just follow your soul's guidance. What can you say to people that have so much trauma and so much sadness that had turned into pain and that are clouded by their intuition or their inner guidance from their soul? How can somebody like that tune into that divine aspect of themselves to bring up their authenticity?
Absolutely. And this is where I'm really trying to refrain myself from saying the word trauma because, in a way, it's the story, right? It's the experience that we've come here to explore, to learn a very valuable lesson. How it was gone about in terms of the experience may not have been ideal for our soul sovereignty. At the end of the day, we came and we learned the lesson that we needed to. And, I've been in a very abusive, situations. I've lost a child. Like I've been through many, many things. And what I would say is that if I hold on to that story, if I hold on to the why me, if I hold on to the mentality that everything is happening to me and not for me, then I'm in a state that I'm not able to transition through and I'm not able to accept because I'm not able to accept what's actually happening. And this doesn't mean that it justifies somebody else's actions. This means that we have to be able to forgive a situation so that we can release and surrender it, so that we can move forward, so that we can grow and empower ourselves and not disempower ourselves by reliving the story and the experience countless times over and over again. Because when we do, we live in heightened states of anxiety and depression, and we're not actually able to feel the fluidity of what we're meant to feel in terms of our emotional body. So when we're bogged down with these stories and these experiences that have happened within our life, it's really important to have that awareness. What am I holding on to? Having that real dialogue conversation with myself, right? That introspectiveness, that inwardness of what do I need to release? What belief system is holding me to this place that I don't want to be held to? I don't want to be in a state of suffering. I want to choose love. I want to choose to feel love. I want to choose to be love, right? So we need to understand, what is that? Where is that rooted? How can I move that? How can I move through that? Sometimes we have to do deep somatic movement. Sometimes we have to do deep breath work to be able to release it, deep meditation to be able to surrender to it. Everything is different for every single person. Sometimes we have to transmute that energy through dance, allow that emotion to release itself so that we can get to the actual story of what's uncovered and where it's rooted within the cellular complex, because everything is rooted within the energy. Everything is energy. So it's always rooted, it's always vibrational. It's never personal, right? It's always vibrational. So, what needs to be surrendered? What do we need to explore? What do we need to release? What do we need to let go? And this isn't letting go to be able to say what somebody did, in my journey was okay. It's how do I allow this to not poison myself? And how do I allow myself to nurture and nourish myself and not allow this to dictate my life, right? And going in through the energy centers, where am I storing in my root, from the ancestors, from lineages before me? Where am I storing that? I deserve to be mistreated in an unhealthy relationship because that has been cycles and generations that have happened before me.
Exactly.
Where am I holding that I am, here to have, financial depletion and not financial abundance? Where am I holding that in the ancestral and in our lineage? There's so many things that get held within the energy centers. Is be able to be in the awareness, being able to be accountable, to be able to receive the information that is being gifted, and then to be able to move from that.
Thank you. Thank you for this. It's very enlightening and I love it. So I've got a few friends that vibe pretty high vibrations, and I just want to get some clarity here. According to a couple of my friends who are pretty incredible humans, they tell me that they're raw vegans, and they say that in order to vibe as high as possible, you need to be a raw vegan. How do you feel about that? Because I don't know if I
No.
really feel that to be true for myself.
No, it's not true. So what I will say, I mean, everyone is their truth, right? So I guess I shouldn't say that. I should be very mindful of what I'm saying. Everyone has their truth.
Right.
But what my truth is, and as a leader, as a conscious leader, it's always like I can say whatever I'm saying here today, and you will interpret whatever is in your intuitive knowingness, and you can resonate with that or you won't. And that's okay, right? Like everyone's truth will be there's a differentiation. We don't need elements of food. We don't need elements of water to be high vibrational beings. High vibrational beings comes from emanating love, and it doesn't matter what you input into the
Yeah.
body. When you're at a high frequency and you're at a high vibration of whatever you absorb, that element of what is being gifted into you is already high vibrational. So when we think that taking one life over another is justified, so taking a life of a plant, coming from the indigenous of the tribal communities of where, my originations are from, a plant has just as much life as an animal does in terms of source of protein
Absolutely.
of food, right? So if we're gifting one life, it's about how do I interpret that life? How do I thank that life? How do I bless that life? And how do I stay in the high vibration of what is entering my body? It's irrelevant what comes into the vibration of your body. If you're already in a frequency of vibration, that anything that comes into your vicinity is naturally matching that vibration and frequency. So there actually has been an amazing couple studies. So when people travel, they tend to get more excited and more joyous, and more curiosity comes in, like the child look,
Right.
kind of behavior kind of steps
Yeah.
in. And they're saying that why is it that, when somebody travels to somewhere and eats the exact same thing, upon their travels that they do at home, for some reason, when they're at home, they can't digest, they can't absorb, the nutrients. But when they're out in the same environment of, the food environment, and they're in a different location and they're already emanating at a higher vibration, and their body is able to digest and have tolerance, and it's like nothing is different than their daily kind of healthy menu. So I think it's irrelevant. I think vibration is vibration, frequency is frequency. What we input into the body is what we choose, and how we choose to allow it to enter our body, and if we allow our body to digest it and accept what is being gifted to us.
I love this. And this, what you just said, feels true for me. Now, this feels true for me for reals. Thank you for that clarity. That's
You're
incredible.
welcome.
I'm going to have a
Yeah.
cheese pizza right after this. Extra pepperoni.
Well, even in our indigenous, communities, like most indigenous tribes, like they do eat meat, and they're the more spiritual people that we have on this planetary system because their connection is divinely right there. There's nothing in between. There's no distractions. They're always in that state, right, of consciousness. So when we think about that and we think about the food that they digest, when they take an animal's life, it's that gratitude, it's the thankfulness, and as they allow that to enter the body, right? So yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Thanks, Roxanne. Jeez. Hey,
yeah.
so Roxanne, what keeps you motivated? What keeps you lit on the daily?
You know what? I think just being here, I love having conversations. I love connecting with people. I love hearing their stories. And I love just being able to deliver the messages as they're channeled through me. And I think, that is my purpose here. I love creating anything that comes in terms of creational opportunities. I absolutely adore. They light me up. I love creating beautiful things, for divine beings. Like I love life. I love here. And I'm so glad that I'm here in this timeline. And I'm just so glad to be doing everything that I'm doing in this now moment.
Well, I love that I've been blessed by your energy and that you're here doing what
Oh,
your life purpose is, and I'm
thank
blessed that we're
you.
vibing the same, and because of that we're able to be on each other's channel, if you might want to say it that way.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful for you. I mean, thank you so much for today. I feel on top of the world. This is really amazing.
Thank you, Lino. Thank you so much for having me. It was such a pleasure and such an honor to meet you.
It's such a pleasure to meet you too. So I got a poem for you
Yeah.
here.
Oh, yes. I'm excited. I was waiting for this the whole time.
All right, here it goes. This is for Roxanne Chaput. And it was in the light where a warm blanket comforted me, snuggled me, and said, "It's your turn to shine." And in taking my turn to shine, I flashed a light on humanity to show them that they too are recipients of the same warm blanket. And in this comfort, I skip in glee, knowing that it's the light of love that holds all the joy in your heart, transparent and ready to be shared. And that's it.
I love that, Lena. Make me cry.
Oh, thank
That was
you.
really good. Thank you for that.
Thank you for this. I mean, this is your energy. Thank you so much. I
Thank you.
appreciate you. So, where and how can our viewers, our watchers, and our listeners get a hold of you?
Absolutely. Anyone can get a hold of me through social media. I'm in the midst of totally rejigging my whole show podcast. So I'm hoping to have something completely different, just everything being spiritually guided and just, channeled. So anyone can, find Soul to Soul with Roxanne and then the Illumination Retreat.com. There's so much more about what we do and, and who we are. So, yeah.
Awesome. And so, come again, your podcast called Soul to Soul with Roxanne, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I love connecting soul to soul with you. Thank you so much for being on A Little Less Fear podcast. I look forward to keeping in touch with you and staying connected. Thank you so much for sharing your incredible, beautiful, luminous light.
Thank you so much, Lena. Thank you for sharing your light. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to A Little Less Fear podcast. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends and your family about A Little Less Fear podcast. And if you are interested in being on my show, feel free to leave me an email at alittlelessfear@gmail.com. Or if you have any questions or comments and you also want to leave me an additional message, you can also do so from my website, leaving an inquiry at www.alittlelessfear.com. You can get a copy of my book on Amazon, Amazon Kindle, and Amazon Kindle Unlimited, also titled A Little Less Fear. And thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate all the support. Leave me a review if you get a chance. I love to receive feedback, questions, and comments. And any way that I can be of support to you, please let me know. Thank you so much. I love you. Wishing you love, light, happiness, and many blessings your way.